Hey team, Katie here from Equestrian Movement, and what I wanted to talk to you today about is one of the problems that I can see when we're having to keep our horses at adjustment facilities, and sometimes we're having to keep our horses stabled. So what our horses need is social engagement. They need to be able to play, they need to be able to move their body, they need to be able to express themselves and what they're feeling, and they can do that through grazing, they can do it through, migrating to different areas of a paddock, or they can do it with play by playing with other horses, running around. Our horses like to go into the dam together and have a roll in the dam together, especially in summer. And while we recognize that not everybody has access to these facilities, you have to appreciate and understand that there's going to be flow on behaviors as to if the horse isn't able to, have these things of forage, freedom, and friends. Is like, these are the bare necessities for an emotionally balanced and emotionally stable horse. A lot of the problems that we see with regard to vices like weaving and cribbing are a stress, like a way of dealing with the stress of not having that social engagement opportunity, not being able to express the social engagement needs that they have. Horses are very social animals. They live in herds. It's not natural for them to live solo, and they need to move. It's not natural for them to stand still, and in particularly be standing still in a stable for extended periods of time. And what happens is, if our horses have to go through this experience, then it shifts their biochemistry, it wires their body differently, and all of that social engagement, all of that play that they would have got out on other horses in the paddock, they're now going to get out on you. And so it's particularly good if you can have, like young horses in with solid herds, with good herd leaders that know how to just shape what is appropriate behavior for that herd integration with that horse, because then you're not having to correct your horse on their social engagement behaviors. It can be very scary having a big horse come in that wants to play with you, or has a lot of angst from not being able to run around, and trying to shape out and properly process that internal state is challenging for the human to have to try and create this environment that allows for the horse to properly metabolize the emotional states that it's been in and the nervous system state that it's been in. It can be a lot easier to work with a horse when they're happily integrated into a herd, and a balanced herd that knows how to keep each other in check with regard to social engagement and how they engage with each other. Please excuse my dog. I swear she doesn't have mange. She's a husky cross that has been clipped for summer, and her coat grows back super gross. She's too old to grow her coat properly and drop her coat properly, so she just looks really gross when she's clipped. Please excuse that. But back to the story, is that you, to the best of your ability, you want to be providing your horse with forage, freedom, and friends to the most extent that you're capable of doing it within the environments that you are in. Even so far as our horses come in grumpy if we've had rain ongoing for multiple days, because it's just, if that was you, if you were having to be we live in houses and we still get grumpy about on never ending rain, on end rain. So our horses' moods and the way that they engage relationally is dependent on their environment and their engagement with other horses. So to the best of our ability, if we can provide them with those needs, then we're not having to train behavioral issues that are the result of being lonely, of wanting to play and having no one to play with, of being socially isolated, of needing to move and needing to run around and not having the space to do so. We're going to experience the fallout of those behaviors if we put them in these scenarios. And then, we're going to punish them and tell them that they're naughty for cribbing and weaving, whereas it's just a stress response. It's just their best way to manage and cope with an environment that isn't conducive to mental and emotional health for our horses. We have to do the best that we can with regards to that. I can appreciate that not everybody is in a situation where you can do that for your horse. I know particularly some of our UK and US friends don't have big liveries that you can keep your horse in. We do have the luxury here in Australia of having more space for the horses to roam, but it is something that you really want to consider even in just the purchasing of your horses. Can you offer them forage freedom and friends for them to have just their basic needs met as an animal capable of emotion and experiencing their life? Like, are we going to create a life of enrichment for these horses, or are we, creating a life similar to prison for them? So that might be a little bit hard for some of us to hear, but if you're having ongoing problems with your horse's behavior and they're not getting forage freedom and friends, and they're not getting their pain addressed, it doesn't matter how good of a trainer you are, you're not going to fix problems that are a result of these kinds of things. Thanks for listening, and until next time, happy trails.